All right. So, good morning, everybody. Today's date is November 17th, 2022. This is a special meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority being conducted in Albany and in New York City. This is also being live streamed on the authority's YouTube channel. Present today are Chairman Bradley and Commissioner Fan. Both are in the New York City office. Staff that are also participating, Acting Counsel Amarato, who's participating remotely via WebEx, Deputy Commissioner of Licensing Donahue, and myself, Secretary to the Authority Roper, both in the Albany office. We have two items on today's calendar. Both are requests for emergency summary orders of suspension from Counsel's office. Going up first is agenda number 2022-01660D. That's serial number 2209955, All Star Pizza and Deli, Inc. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Donald. Good morning, members. This is Kayla O'Donnell on behalf of Counsel's Office. Counsel's Office is seeking an emergency summary order of suspension for licensee All Star Pizza and Deli, Inc. The sole principal is Hussein Harbi. This license was issued on February 12th, 2018. We're seeking a summary suspension here because Mr. Harbi's blatant disregard for the alcoholic beverage control law is endangering the health, safety, and welfare of the inhabitants of the area. An underage compliance check was conducted on Monday at approximately 6:45 p.m. During this check, a 15-year-old agent purchased a 12-pack of bottled Corona beer. The cashier did not question the 15-year-old about his date of birth and did not ask to see this 15-year-old's ID before he sold him a 12-pack of Corona beer. The sale was witnessed by the authorities' investigator. So it turns out that the cashier who made the sale is only 17, and there was nobody over the age of 18 supervising him while he was making sales of alcohol. So this licensee is also being charged with employment of a minor on top of the sale to minor to a 15-year-old. Now, this is not the licensee's first sale to a minor. It's not the second or the third or the fourth. This is the fifth sale to minor in a year and a half. In the last year and a half, the licensee also was found in possession of 7 cartons of untaxed cigarettes on one occasion and 3 cartons of untaxed cigarettes on another occasion. On May 6, 2021, the licensee received the first sale to minor charge after selling 2 cans of alcohol to a 19-year-old auxiliary agent. After defaulting, reconsideration was granted and the licensee paid a $3,000 fine in April of this year. On August 25th of 2021, the State Department of Tax and Finance found 7 cartons of untaxed cigarettes, as I mentioned. Their cigarette registration was already previously revoked for 1 year at that point, so they revoked it for 3 years at that time, and the licensee didn't respond to request a hearing, so it was upheld. Shortly thereafter, the licensee sold to a 17-year-old on September 4th, 2021. A month later, on October 7th, 2021, the licensee sold alcohol to a 20-year-old auxiliary agent. And then the licensee sold alcohol to a minor for the 4th time on July 22nd, 2022. So despite the plea form in that case reflecting cancel and bond, the licensee initially offered $3,000 for its 4th sale to a minor. And then when that was rejected and told cancel and bond, he submitted a plea for $5,000. So clearly, this licensee is not taking these violations seriously, given this offer that he's making on his 4th sale to a minor. Then after sending those offers, now the licensee has been found to have sold alcohol to a 15-year-old this past Monday. Mr. Harbi's disregard for the most basic and fundamental principle, which is not to sell alcohol to a minor, is appalling. Mr. Harbi also had similar violations under his other liquor license. He was the sole principal for another grocery beer license in Albany from September 2018 until he sold the business without notifying the authorities sometime earlier this year. Licensing sent an abandonment letter, which he did not respond to, so that license is currently on a permanent hold. Under that license, on August 17th, 2021, again, similar to this license, the tax department found 7 cartons of untaxed cigarettes. And currently, the license is revoked under that license. Cigarette registration is revoked for 5 years. We charged the licensee for those tobacco violations, and he just ignored and defaulted on that pleading. So the license was suspended from July 26, 2022 until August, and the bond was claimed. And unsurprisingly, the licensee has also not responded to our September 2022 pleading for that license, which was the non-bona fide for selling the business without notifying us and not responding to the abandonment letter. This principal's total and complete disregard for the procedures and rules of New York's licensing agencies could not be more blatant. He cannot be trusted to hold a liquor license. There's a reason that people under 21 cannot buy alcohol, and this is why it's one of our most fundamental and sacred of the alcoholic beverage control laws. Given that he's sold to 5 minors in a year and a half, and with the most minor being a long way from 21 at only 15 years old, continuing to allow this licensee to operate while the charges are being litigated would definitely endanger the health, welfare, and safety of the inhabitants of the area of the licensed premises, which it's worth noting is in the area where a lot of students live in Albany. In consideration of them, immediate action in the form of an emergency order of summary suspension is required. Thank you.
Members have any questions?
Kayla, this location is a convenience store with a food counter. Do you have any understanding of what the setup is like inside?
So it's like they're serving pizza to go, and then it's like a bodega combined.
But it's 2 checkouts, so like the 15-year-old is not, like, how is he able to buy a 12-pack? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, he just walked up to the register and put it on the counter, and
But it's not
apparently
on
the cashier didn't even look at him.
Wow, okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Also, I saw this ID of the 15-year-old. I couldn't submit it because all we have is his real ID. Doesn't have an auxiliary ID that I've seen, but he looks 15. He's not somebody that has a beard and is like built like a Viking. Like, he looks like a normal 15-year-old.
Wow, okay. Right.
Members are ready to vote. Commissioner Fan?
Based on evidence submitted by counsel, it's clear that this licensee, it's not paying attention to his establishment and continuing to create imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare by selling to minor, and I'm therefore voting to summarily suspend this license.
Chairman Bradley?
I'm going to vote to summarily suspend based on counsel's presentation. It's clear that the licensee is a risk to the public health, safety, and welfare.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kayla. You can leave the meeting. Thanks. Next item on the agenda is agenda number 2022-01660C. That's serial number 1341240, SEABREEZE Grocery Corporation. Whenever you're ready.
Lawrence Schwartz from Counsel's Office. Good morning, everyone. This premises has been the source of numerous community complaints involving drug sales from behind the counter and also for sale of alcohol to minors, among other things. An SLA investigator in Long Beach Police were not allowed to conduct an inspection on 2 different occasions. The Long Beach Police Commissioner has told us in no uncertain terms that the premises is a nuisance in the community and a drain on police resources. On November 14th of 2022, an employee working behind the counter at SeaBreeze Grocery Corp in Long Beach sold an undercover police officer a pre-rolled marijuana cigarette for $15. Now, before that incident, on Saturday, October 1st of this year, an SLA investigator, along with members of the Long Beach Police Department, including the police commissioner himself, and the Nassau County Fire Marshal visited the premises. The person in charge at the time of the October 1st inspection was the same employee who sold the marijuana on November 14th. The employee called the licensee during the inspection to inform him of what was going on, that the place was being inspected. The licensee refused to speak with the SLA investigator on the phone, and after the employees spoke with the licensee, two employees who were working behind the counter refused to allow the SLA investigator or the police to inspect behind the counter. Both of the employees actually physically blocked the investigator and the police and told them that they were not going to be allowed to inspect behind the counter where alcohol sales were being transacted. Now, the SLA investigator and a Long Beach Police Department lieutenant separately told both employees that the consequences of their failing to allow the inspections could include civil fines up to $10,000 as well as criminal sanctions, but both employees still refused to permit an inspection. Criminal court summonses were issued to both employees. These employees were also unable to produce books and records for alcohol sales, and the premise was also using an unapproved trade name and didn't have the business certificate. So the criminal court summonses included a failure to permit the inspection, failure to maintain books and records, and no business certificate posted. There were also 3 fire code violations issued by the Nassau County Fire Marshal. On August 10th of this year, the same employee who was involved in the October 1st inspection and the November 14th drug sale sold a pre-rolled marijuana cigarette to an undercover police officer at the premises while he was working behind the counter. And before that, on May 15th of 2022, the same employee sold a Long Beach Police Department undercover officer a 10-pack of gummies containing THC, which is a controlled substance, again, while he was working behind the counter at the premises. That is a felony drug sale, by the way. And finally, yesterday afternoon, officers of the Long Beach Police Department again went back to the premises to conduct an inspection. The same employee who was involved in all of the drug sales and the inspection again refused to permit the officers to inspect the premises. You might think that the people running this place would have learned their lesson, cleaned up their act, and begun to cooperate with law enforcement. Instead, it appears that they've learned a very different lesson, that they can do whatever they want without fear of consequences. Obviously, THC and unlicensed marijuana are routinely stored behind the counter. We don't know, we can't know what else they have stored back there because the folks running this place simply won't comply with the law and permit an inspection, despite being told that they could be fined, given summonses, or even be arrested. This employee who's selling the drugs, he clearly has a protocol. He's selling the drugs to undercover police officers whom he doesn't know without hesitation. They have a standard product, a standard price, and they're storing the drugs on the premises. These drugs which they're selling are dangerous and are commonly laced with other substances which are even more harmful, which commonly kill people. Now, I think it's very much worth noting that the transgressions which we've seen at this place are particularly egregious in view of the fact that this licensee has only been operating for a very short period of time. The licensee operated under a series of temporary permits from April 19th of this year until October 7th, when it was granted an AX license. So within a month of beginning operations, they're making felony drug sales from this premises. The licensee himself was supposedly.
Mr. Schwartz, can I stop you there? I just don't want this record to be incorrect. Are you positive that that's a felony drug sale?
Yes, it's a D felony, criminal sale of a controlled substance. I confirmed that with Detective Popper of the Long Beach Police Department. Now, I asked him if this particular sale was going to be prosecuted as a felony, and he said he didn't know what the final judgment.
I don't think the police officer is correct. I don't believe that a sale of any amount of marijuana is a felony.
I'm sorry, I'm not being clear. It's THC that's the felony if it's in a gummy.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, marijuana obviously contains THC, but this is concentrated THC in a gummy. So he said that, yeah, I agree. The marijuana sales are only violations.
Why don't we just stop referring to it as a felony just so the record doesn't look like it's prejudicial?
Okay. Again, I was getting that information from the officer, so I won't refer to a felony again. But the licensee was supposedly not going to be maintaining any outside employment. He's supposed to be there from 8 o'clock until 7 o'clock. On the application, the licensee represented that he would not have a manager. But as far as we can tell, the licensee himself is never on the premises. He wasn't there for the investigation, he wasn't there for the sales, and he wasn't there last afternoon when the police went back. It's just the same employee every time, running a business licensed to sell alcohol, who's also selling drugs, refusing to permit inspections, and running the place with dangerous fire code violations. I submit that the fact that drug trafficking is occurring inside the premise on a regular basis is a testament to the licensee's moral turpitude and the lack of character and fitness to hold a liquor license. It's obvious that this licensee can't be trusted with a liquor license and poses an imminent threat to the health, safety, and welfare of the public, fully justifying a suspension of the license. Thank you.
Have there been any arrests because let's be honest, we all know that marijuana is now legal in the state, although it's clear that this individual is selling it illegally. Have there been any arrests for this?
When I spoke to the officer yesterday afternoon, he said they anticipated arresting the employee who made the 3 sales and who failed to permit the inspection either today or tomorrow.
And does this licensee have other licenses?
No.
Just if I may, Mr. Schwartz, what was the date, the most recent sale date? Was that November what?
14th.
Was that 14th on the report, on the lab report, or was it on the report that the police presented to us?
Yes, it's on the detective narrative report, 11/14/2022, 14:04 hours, the buy operation commenced.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, this is what it says on the detective narrative report. I'm sorry, it says that that's the buy notes are entered in the report on that time, and then below that it says 11/9, and then it has the time. So it could have been that it's 11/9, not 11/14. I apologize.
Thank you.
Do the members have any other questions?
This is they're on a temporary permit at this point?
Well, at this point, no, they have an AX license, which was given to them on 10/7. They had a temporary permit which expired on October 16th, but it's they have the AX now,
Okay.
10/7.
And they were selling untaxed cigarettes as well?
There were complaints of that, yes.
Oh, the police didn't find any.
I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know that the information we have from Long Beach Police was that there were complaints of untaxed cigarettes, of minors being served, noise, littering, and these and complaints from the communities from more than one person about drugs being sold from the premises.
But we don't have, the only thing we have evidence of is the drugs, the marijuana.
Yeah, and the THC gummies.
Okay.
And again, I mean, we don't know what else was behind that counter because they won't allow anyone to inspect it.
Okay.
The members are ready to vote. Commissioner Fan?
Based on evidence presented by counsel, this relatively new license is presenting an imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare. They're refusing to allow proper SLA investigation. The licensee who said that he'll be there, it's nowhere to be found. So I'm voting to summarily suspend this license.
Chairman Bradley.
Based on council's presentation, I'm voting to summarily suspend. While the licensee is clearly not only selling alcohol, which he is licensed to do, but he's clearly selling at a minimum marijuana, which while currently legal in New York State is not legal to be sold without a license. And he does not have a license, nor could he legally get a license because he already has a liquor license. It's certainly unquestioned that when you buy a regulated substance from an unlicensed individual, you are rolling the dice as to what substance you're going to get from that individual, which is clearly a risk to the public health, safety, and welfare. And I'm going to vote to summarily suspend.
All right. So I have nothing else on today's calendar. Chairman, do you have anything?
I don't. Thank you.
Thank you.
This meeting adjourned.
You're right, I hope we don't start with a lot of them.
I know.